Howdy, welcome to Papa John's World. We're going to do a little bit of chainsaw maintenance on my Makita. This is a Makita 6800i DCS. It's actually a professional chainsaw. It's 68 cc's and it puts out 4.7 horsepower. I bought this Makita at a yard sale for $75. It's cut about 15 cords of wood since I've done that, bucked it. Anyway, we're going to do a little bit of simple maintenance on it and see what I do to keep them running. First thing I'm going to do is take an air compressor and blow it off, clean her up a little bit. I really like to try to get in where the fins are, get the trash out of there, and flip it up on its side. So this Makita wasn't made in Japan. This Makita is made in Germany. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I think it probably does. I think they make pretty good stuff in Germany. So first thing we'll do is take a look at the air filter. I need to try to order a new one. The last time I did, I couldn't find one, but Dolmar makes, I'm going to check and just make sure they're tight, which it is. I'm just going to blow that off a little bit. Probably blowing them off are the worst thing. I have taken before and washed them as good as I can, but I think it's time to change this if I can get a new one. We're going to go ahead and take this filter off and take a look at it. These little screws, they're captured, they don't come off. You can see that's pretty dirty on that side. I'm glad I took a minute to take that off. See if we can't blow that off a little bit. I'm getting ready to cut, or I would take that and soak it in some Dawn dish soap and wash it off a little better. I don't think blowing them out's a great thing for them. It's a factory port job, it's not aftermarket ported. Okay, we'll put that back on. This takes a 13 millimeter. Because the bar is kind of in the way, a standard chainsaw wrench doesn't fit it very well, and I don't have the original tools that came with it. So we're going to take these nuts off. They're not captured, they're 13 millimeter. And we're going to take the chain brake off, and that's the brake. And we're just going to blow these parts out right here and get this gummy mess out. Get that cleaned up a little bit. Like this little screw might be a tad loose. Kind of check it for stuff like that. Okay. Pull that out. I think this helps your saw run cooler too. Little plates help guide the oil onto the chain. That's what they do. I take time to blow out the cooling fins on the engine. Chain brake back on. Okay, we didn't tighten that all the way up. We want to tighten that up just a little bit. What you want to be able to see clearance on about 3 teeth. This one I can see clearance on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's just a little bit too loose. So we'll tighten up this screw right here, and while we do that, we're going to lift up on the bar a little bit. I'm going to turn that to the right to tighten it, and that's like a quarter of a turn. Now I can just see daylight under 3 teeth. We're going to call that good. And while you keep tension on that bar up, take your tool or your ratchet, drop it on the ground. Okay, while you take that tension up on that bar, hold that up and tighten that nut. They don't have to be super tight, but they need to be tight enough to hold. Saws vibrate pretty hard. So holding that up, tighten that nut, just good and snug, not super tight. Okay. Always recheck when you're done. That looks good. So we're going to sharpen this chain now too. And I wanted to say something about saw storage. If you're mixing your own fuel for your 2-stroke saw, I think the main thing is run ethanol free. The other thing is try to run around 91 octane, not the lower 87s or 82s. And then get you one of these. This is for mixing oil in like a 2.5 gallon gas can. If we run 50 to 1, we find 50 to 1. And then go on the gallon or liter. So we go down to gallon. That's 6 gallons. It would take that much oil. And we go down, I usually mix about 2.5 gallons at a time, which there's a 1 gallon, 2 gallon, and kind of guess at 2.5, 50 to 1. You would fill that up. This marks for my grandson's motorcycle. Then he runs it on, we'd mix up 2.5 gallons at 40 to 1. But a chainsaw, we run 50 to 1. If it was a brand new chainsaw, the first few tanks, I'd probably run 40 to 1, or maybe even 32 to 1. Maybe 2 tanks to break it in, and then a little, there's more, a little more on that. So these are great little measuring devices, and this one's nice because it has a lid. It stays clean. I think that's important. And if you don't want to mix your own, and you're only using a gallon of chainsaw a year, gas, just buy one already made. Husqvarna makes it, Steel makes it, VP Racing makes them. I mean, any saw store will have it pre-mixed at 50 to 1, and it's good. I have some of that too, but when I get to cutting a bunch, I mix my own. It's just a lot cheaper, and that's how we do that. Wanted to say one more thing about long-term storage on your chainsaw. Run it plumb out of fuel. Pour it out, start it up, pour it in a can, not on the ground. Run it out till the engine dies, and then what I do is I take about an ounce of this 2-stroke oil, I pour into the gas tank, and then I crank it and try to get it to start again with the choke on, and suck that 2-stroke oil into that carburetor, fuel system, maybe even a little bit into the motor. Then I let it store all winter, and the next year I just pour fresh gas in it and give it a few cranks, and she'll start right up, and she'll smoke a little bit right off the start. But I've never had to tear the carburetor apart on a chainsaw because it had bad gas in it all winter. Simple, easy to do, don't cost very much. Let's sharpen the chain, and then we'll be ready to start cutting wood. I carry this little bag with me up in the hills too. I can plug that into my truck, but I have a little Oregon chainsaw sharpener, and it has either a cigarette lighter plug or a battery adapter. I'm home, I actually have this little motorcycle battery I just keep around, and I charge it once in a while. That's what runs my little sharpener. So this is an Oregon sharpener. They're not very expensive, probably less than you'd pay to have 2 or 3 chains sharpened professionally. It's got a little guide for 35, 30, and 25. I sharpen at 30. A lot of guys sharpen both ways. I do one side one way, and then I get on the other side and do it. And I usually find the yellow link, my master link in my chain, and I start there. And you just hold it up there at 30 degrees and run it back and forth while it's spinning, and then go to the next tooth. So that tooth's, these are right hand side, that's the left hand side, and you just do it that way. So we'll start that now. Want to be careful not to get them too hot. Some guys just use a Dremel tool and do this, but I like it this way. Okay, now we'll turn that around and we'll do it on the other side. There's my master link. Okay, that was easy enough. That's faster than taking a chain off of a saw and putting a new chain on it by far. Now, about every third time I do that, I'll take a file and I'll 1 or 2 light strokes on the raker. And that's the front leading edge, that little rider, and that's what controls the angle. As you sharpen this, it will wear down, and as it wears down, it gets lower. And if you don't, you'll go from chips to start seeing more sawdust and less chips. But that's what you need to do, is take that raker down just 1 or 2 strokes, and typically do it before you sharpen this, because you're going to hit that with your file a couple of times. And right now, that's sharp. They'll dig into your skin if you just drag your thumb across it. So this chain's ready to go. It's ready to rock and roll. So remember, about every third time, a couple strokes on your rakers, and that keeps that angle of that chain digging into that wood. And you don't want to get that too aggressive. And if you have a low horsepower chainsaw, be careful with that, because you can take too much off that raker and start bogging that saw down and burn up the clutch, and you can do other things to it that's not good. So you might, if you've sharpened your chain a bunch or somebody else has done it, you might one stroke and try it. If you're getting dust, if it's cutting good, you know, don't fix what ain't broke. If you watch some of the other videos, you watch how I mark my logs to cut. That's this little deal right here. If you measure, that's just a zip tie with a piece of pink tape on it. And if you measure from the bar to the end of that zip tie, it's 16 inches. So my first cut that I want next to my bucking table, I put that where I want that cut to be, and I mark the log at 16. And then I put that pink piece of tape in that mark where I just cut with a chainsaw, and then I mark it all the way to the end. And I always go to the small end of the log, because then I waste a small donut instead of a great big piece of the log. And then I start cutting from the small end, and I always cut from the small end to the big end. More information than you needed to know. And the trees I'm cutting right now are green and wet and sappy. Some's pine, some's quakey. And I'll, at the end of this 28 cords I have to cut, I'll take this chainsaw, I'll soak it down with carburetor cleaner and get it washed up pretty good. Try to get all that sap off of that. But as long as your fins are clean, your brake assembly's clean, your air filter's clean, make sure you keep oil in the oil reservoir, good ethanol-free fuel in your saw, so oil reservoir. And I'm going to blow these off just real quick, get the dirt off of them. And I always blow them off a little bit before I unscrew them, just with my breath, to try to get that cleaned up, keep the dirt out of the tanks, sawdust. Okay, good luck with your chainsaw. Thanks for watching Papa John's World. Hey, please subscribe and watch us cut up some of that wood over there. It's going to be fun.